Welcome to My Brussels, a new podcast from Visit Brussels, shining a light on some of the best things to see and things to do here in the capital of Europe. In every episode, we will be meeting a different foreign correspondent and international journalist who has made Brussels their home. We'll talk a bit about work, but above all, we will talk about this city. I'm Paul McNally, and in this episode...
I was in awe of this city. I was in the heart of something important. I was like, this is my place.
We meet an Irish journalist who's called Brussels home for the past 16 years. Maeve McMahon works for Euronews. She'll be sharing her experience of reporting here in the capital and, of course, her tips for places to see and things to do.
My Brussels.
Moja Bruksela.
Mon Bruxelles.
Minha Bruxela.
Mi Bruselas.
My Brussels.
My Brussels.
My Brussels.
Maeve, thank you for joining us on My Brussels.
Delighted to be here. What a privilege.
2009, you landed in Brussels. We know you're from Ireland, but I'm always fascinated to hear the intermediate steps because it's very rarely a straight line. Where were you before coming to Brussels?
I was a very eager cub reporter based in Valencia on the east coast of Spain, living the life. I was working for a web TV about European affairs, having a great time, enjoying the sun and the sea and integrating well into the Spanish community, picked up fluent Spanish. But suddenly one day the bosses of the web TV say, Maeve, tomorrow, don't bother coming in. You're fired. And I'm like, what? I haven't done anything wrong. They were like, no, you haven't done anything wrong, but we're out of money. So they kind of mismanaged things. And literally there I was, floods of tears.
Like, what next? What do I do
what
next?
next? What next? It was a part of my life where I was just like, everything fell apart for about a day. And the next day, I kind of gathered up my thoughts and started to gradually pack my bags and headed towards Brussels.
Since you've been reporting on EU affairs, Brussels must have been a pretty logical step, I suppose.
Of course, it was a very logical step. I had London in my mind and various internships with Sky News Ireland there, but then Brussels was piquing my curiosity a lot, indeed. Because with that previous job, we travelled a lot around the European Union and European countries, often with small cameras and checking things out. So it did pique my curiosity, even though we had a lot of Brussels-based interns who were coming over to Valencia, sometimes saying very negative things about Brussels and like, oh, compared to Valencia, you don't want to go there. It's so grey, it's so boring. So I must admit, when I came here, my expectations were very low.
Well, there is certainly the climate difference, but when you first got here, what were your first impressions of the city?
Well, when I first got here, I remember doing a blog, because remember, I was penniless. I'd just come out of a breakup and I was heartbroken, penniless, but also very ambitious. And I started my own blog and I was filming. I remember filming like the rainy streets of Brussels. It was November. But I also felt this sense of excitement. I was in awe of this city. I was in the heart of something important. I was in a really important capital. All around me, I could see people in suits, people busy. It was almost like a scene out of The West Wing, a series that I watched and I loved. I felt like I was at the right place at the right time. I felt pleased that I'd been pushed out of Valencia so brutally, so dramatically, because actually I was in the right place. And then I just knocked on every single door until I became a journalist.
I was going to ask, as a job seeker, how do you go about making those connections and getting someone to take you seriously as a new arrival?
You pick up the phone and you call and you email and you spam everyone you know who can potentially give you an opportunity. So I literally was just like a pain in the neck for a while trying to get opportunities, and they gradually came along. I mean, from Tony Connolly, the Irish broadcaster from RTE, who's very established here in Brussels, I begged him to take me along to an EU summit, and he gave me one condition. He said, Maeve, get yourself a badge, an accreditation, and you can come. And I managed to do that, and then I kind of tagged along after him, getting him coffee. And my first ever EU summit was literally like Christmas Day for me. It was so exciting. It was brilliant. And I knew that I was in the right place, surrounded by the international media, European politicians, with so many stories just all happening at the same time. I was like, this is my place.
Did it take a while to get used to Brussels? Was there a point where something clicked and you thought, okay, this is home?
It just all was perfect. I mean, it just all worked out. I ended up meeting so many great people. It almost felt like another Erasmus for grown-ups. I felt like I'd grown out of Valencia, because Valencia, if I look back, it was a wonderful period, but it was the east coast of Spain. It was sleepy. People took 2 hours for lunch break. You know, if I tried to work faster, furious, they'd be like, no, slow down. So Brussels was a bit more kind of dynamic, and the opportunities started coming thick and fast. So like, there's literally not been a day where I haven't had anything to do since I've come to Brussels. It's been a great place. And yeah, it's just almost like a hidden gem where I've been able to live.
Before we share some tips and addresses, we'll talk a bit about what you're currently working on. And Euronews has been expanding in Brussels, I sense, and quite tellingly moved their main operations from Lyon to Brussels, I think. So they clearly attach a lot of importance to this city. What do you do for them on a day-to-day basis?
Indeed. So Euronews now has a main hub at Schumann 6, so literally opposite the Berlaymont, just around the beautiful construction of the Rond-Point Schumann, which is still under construction. But that's where the news hub is. We still, of course, have big operations in Lyon, but the main concentration is here in Brussels and in capitals all across. My role varies, but I guess viewers now across the globe and Europe know me mostly perhaps for Brussels, My Love, a chat show that we've been doing for the last couple of years. Also live shows. I've been anchoring a lot of live shows when elections happen, and this year we've had a lot of elections. I'm anchoring those shows, big interviews as well. I do a lot of big interviews, sometimes packages, reports, traveling across the continent to try and capture various topics and illustrate them visually for our audiences, because I remain a video journalist or a TV journalist, broadcast journalist, even though I know today we're supposed to do everything, be the online reporters, be the web reporters, be everything. But I still, in my heart, maybe perhaps back to those days in Valencia, I'm still very much a video kind of visual journalist.
Let's move on from work to play. And here on My Brussels, we ask each of our guests to come up with 5 ideas, places to see, eat, drink, relax, not just obvious tourist hotspots, but also some places that are a bit off the beaten path as well. You sound very busy. So what I want to know is at the end of a busy week and you need to go somewhere green to just take it easy for a bit, where would you recommend?
So Friday I'm still busy, but Saturday morning, a little jog around Parc Josaphat in Scarbeck. You can hear the birds, you can see the little cute animals, and you can literally feel like you're way out in Bois de la Cambre. You can meditate, you can chill, you can have a coffee in the Laiterie, the little cafeteria there, and it's just a great space to be. And it's also a hub of activities. All through the year, they put on festivals, mostly free, for locals. So it's definitely somewhere to check out, even if you live in another part of the city. And also every autumn they have a 10K race, which is great as well.
The other great thing about Parc Josaphat is because there are other parts of Scarbeck that are very densely populated, people come from there to Parc Josaphat. So there's a real mix of loads of different people from different backgrounds. And I think that's particularly nice as well.
It's particularly nice, especially for picnics. Obviously in winter, you can't do that. But in the summer, you can picnic from April to September in the park. And it's also, they have their branding place to be or park to be.
Park to be, yeah.
Park to be, which I love. It gives you that real feeling of this is where I belong. This is my garden outside my home. A bit of a Central Park vibe, which I think is really nice.
Moving on to a social hangout. If you're organising an evening with friends, where would you recommend?
Well, obviously, I am a very busy working mother of 2 as well. And for me, a social life is gathering with other exhausted parents. So I must say my kind of go-to place every Friday after work and picking up the kids is kind of like an apéro vibe in Chaussée d'Ardennais, the market there. People spill out from about 4 o'clock from the schools and also from work, from all around. It has real Châtelain vibes. Some people are even saying this is the new Châtelain. So it's every Friday, and that's where you'll find me. Also, you can spill out if you can get a babysitter or if somebody can mind your kids, you can head off down Emile Max, which for me is one of the most splendid streets
with the cherry blossom
in
trees,
Brussels.
yes.
You've got cute little wine bars around there. There's also nice places to eat. It's an area that you need to watch in Brussels. And it's also just a stone's throw from the EU quarter, literally a 10-minute walk.
Okay, now we're lucky in Brussels when it comes to culture, museums, theatre, concerts, cinema. Can you recommend somewhere on a cultural note that we should visit?
I would head over to the other side of the city and I would cross that canal and go to Turin Taxis or Gare Maritime and appreciate the absolutely stunning renovation that has been done there. That again is a hub of culture and activities. You also have the Brasserie de la Seine there where you can have a nice beer and taste some food, enjoy the surroundings, and also the cultural events that take place in the Gare Maritime itself. It doesn't matter what the weather is, there's always something happening there. And I think it's a real gem, especially people who are living in Ixelles, Saint-Gilles, tend not to kind of venture further than their backyard. So I would really invite them to go there. Otherwise, of course, Beaux-Arts. I mean, Beaux-Arts is just holds a very special place in my heart. I have moderated numerous events there, from the Nobel Peace Prize event, I think then an EU politics night. Also the Irish celebrate their St. Patrick's Festival there every March, which is just an amazing event. And it also hasn't changed. Since I've come to Brussels, Beaux-Arts has just stayed as beautiful as it always was. And I love going in there.
And very central as well. It's super easy to get to.
And it has a rooftop terrace now, which, by the way, I mean, obviously, it's only in summer where you can enjoy a rooftop, but they're booming in Brussels, which is really, really cool as well.
We said we weren't going to talk too much about tourist hotspots, but we will mention one sort of landmark or attraction that you would recommend. For example, if you had family or friends visiting and you wanted to show them around real Brussels, if it were, where would you recommend for that?
I would take them to Place de Liberté, Freedom Square, and also to the Place de Congrès. I mean, obviously it's not as stunning as Mont des Arts, but it's alternative, it's different. It has a little bit of a Parisian vibe around there, the architecture, the streets, and also it's steeped in history. It's also got really nice cafes, restaurants. You have the Cirque Royal Theatre as well, where you can go for a concert. So it's just a gorgeous neighbourhood, and it's also a neighbourhood I feel that is not so well known.
It's quiet. I don't think a lot of people go through it necessarily.
Because they've no reason to go through it perhaps, but it's just off Park Royal, which is a wonderful park as well.
Now, finally, you've been here for 16 years, and here on My Brussels, we like hearing tips about hidden places, hidden gems that some of our listeners might not know about. What would you recommend?
Hidden gems, that's tricky, because I feel like Brussels is the city of hidden gems. There's more to this city than the Grand Place, but one place I love to go is the Vauxhall of Brussels. It's actually a historic performance hall just off Park Royal, and it was named after the Pleasure Gardens in London. And I discovered it one summer because they have yoga classes there on a Sunday morning, which are stunning. And I also heard a Ukrainian once play classical music there, and it just took me to another place. I was just like, I'm literally in the centre of the city, in the corner of Park Royal, hidden behind the Royal Theatre, lying down in Shavasana. It's absolutely perfect. And just another little gem, which has opened recently, is the Corinthia Hotel, which is very much like the Plaza. So somewhere to go for brunch afterwards, or on a Sunday where they play the piano all afternoon. It's expensive, but if you do want to show off to a friend or a family member and bring them somewhere nice, that's somewhere to go perhaps after your yoga.
We will include as many details as possible in the show notes as well on the podcast. Before we wrap up, you're still discovering new bits of Brussels all the time. I mean, does Brussels still have surprises in store for you? Do you still find new things?
Of course. I love that. Yeah. I mean, it's a very different Brussels to the one I came to back in 2009, where I socialized more in brasseries, or if you want to have a drink, you go for like a spaghetti bolognese and like a glass of terrible wine. Now it's just constantly, there's new places to opening up. There's great things to discover. Even on the kind of periphery of the city, there's so many cute little spots you can find. You just need to go out and have a look and just get out of your comfort zone and walk around a little bit more. I think if you drive around Brussels, it might be a little bit frustrating. But if you're biking or walking, you can really discover so many things.
Yeah, because also it helps you join the dots. It helps you work out where places are around Brussels, which you can't really do when you're either underground or whether you're driving. You see things that you wouldn't otherwise see. Yeah.
Of course, you see things that you wouldn't otherwise see. And you'll notice as well the traffic on the bike lanes. There's so many more people out biking, jogging. It's just become more alive as well, I feel, in the last while. People always say, like, how do you do it? Like, how do you manage to do so much in one day? And I'm like, the bike, because Brussels is such a convenient city. Like, we're not in Berlin, we're not in London or Madrid, where you literally could not have the luxury of just using your bike to get around.
Maeve, thank you for all of your tips and your ideas, and thank you for joining us on My Brussels.
It was a pleasure. See you soon.
Now, if you've heard anything that caught your interest and you'd like to find out more, we'll put as many details as possible in the show notes of this podcast. Thank you very much for listening to My Brussels. Please do leave us a review, share, subscribe, and to explore more, head over to visit.brussels and check the What to Do section, where you'll find plenty of other ideas for enjoying Brussels. My Brussels is a Visit Brussels production. It's produced by Anke Harthorn and it's recorded at the Press Club, Brussels, Europe. I'm Paul McNally, and we'll be back soon with more tips to explore and enjoy Brussels.